right, we talked about the preseason game tonight. We're all excited about this. You'll be able to watch it. I think locally here it's on Channel 5.
Yeah.
It's also going to be on the NFL Network.
Correct.
And on the call for the game, our friend of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, big Cleveland sports fan, Cleveland native, Chris Rose. Chris, welcome to the program. Happy Friday, brother. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to get back to East Carolina baseball before we get, dive headfirst into the Browns situation.
Let's do it.
The guy who was going to head to East Carolina, instead he was drafted late in the first round, was Mike Trout. So that'll tell you how good a baseball program East
Yeah, you
Carolina.
aren't kidding.
That's
there you
wild.
go.
Trout had he had the tools coming out too. Yeah, they
All right, enough
really
about
well
Pirates baseball. So let's talk about football tonight, shall we?
Yeah, what are you expecting, Chris? We obviously gave fake lines, like what we expect Shedeur Sanders' line to be. I don't know if you want to dive that deep into the weeds, but what are you looking for from him tonight?
I think that the coaching staff will do a really good job to make sure that what they're running that he's comfortable with. First and foremost, and I think he'll do well. To be honest with you, the first couple series might be rough, in part because usually when you're playing with a backup offensive line and going against a starting defense, sometimes you'll leak a little bit of oil. It could take Shedeur a little bit of time to get used to the speed of this game and everything else, but I think you'll see a lot of the quick passing game early. He did a lot of that at Colorado, right? A lot of screens, a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've seen one thing I think the NFL has done exceptionally well over the last decade is not rule with an iron fist and say, hey, college kid, this is the way we do it here. They've kind of gone backwards. They say, well, what did you do well in college? What made you a good player? Let's see what we can implement at the NFL level. So I think that they'll do that in terms of, what works in their offense and what works best with Shedeur's skill set.
When you look at it, Chris, man, have you seen a level of anticipation kind of like this in a preseason game? Answer it quick. No.
Has there ever been a fifth round draft pick that has drummed up this much attention? I mean, never.
Not that I can remember.
Okay, Cam Ward was the number one pick in the draft. He will be the unquestioned starter for Tennessee in week 1. Have you heard his name mentioned at all this summer?
Not really.
Not really. And it's because this guy, he's, number one, he was a star when he got to college. He is a star before he has taken a snap in the NFL. That doesn't necessarily equate to success at this level, but call him whatever you want. He is a star. And then his game and his family is so polarizing. It's that equation takes us to tonight. And it is unlike anything I can remember or feel like I've seen before, because there are so many factions. Over here, we have people that are saying, well, why isn't he getting reps with the one? And Dylan Gabriel is getting reps with the one. Why isn't that happening? There are people over on this side that are saying, well, he's a developmental quarterback. Like, what other fifth rounder does get snaps with the one? There's just so much that there's still people that feel like they're against the Sanders family name. There are some people that are saying, well, the Browns are setting him up for failure, which to me is the most ridiculous narrative of them all. I mean, he's on their team. Why wouldn't they want him to succeed and put him in a position to succeed? You can question whether or not they should have drafted him. You can question whether or not it made sense to draft 2 quarterbacks in a 3-round span. I get all that stuff. There's just so much floating around that we're going to have to talk about tonight, which there's a lot of people that call preseason football that are jealous of our booth tonight because we don't have to make stuff up. This is
Yeah, if only you had a storyline, Chris.
Right.
Thanks.
So how do you feel about the way that they've handled his process throughout this training camp? I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's absurd, some of the conspiracy theories that are out there. But what do you make of how they've brought him along so far?
Well, I think it all depends on what your expectations are for Shedeur. Guys that are drafted this late are termed developmental quarterbacks. Let's just go over the last 10 drafts. So this is since 2016 and including this year. How many quarterbacks that were taken after night 1, so after the first round, will be starting week 1 in the NFL, presuming everybody is healthy. Do you guys
Brock
have any
Purdy.
idea? What's that?
Brock Purdy.
Yep, there's one.
And that might be
After Dak, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
After what?
Dak.
After night 1?
Yeah.
And
Jalen Hurts is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's it, huh?
Right.
That's it. And so it's a long shot. When you get down this far in the draft, it's literally a lottery ticket. He just happens to be the most famous lottery ticket that we've ever seen. And so I understand why people get all huffy puffy and want to yell at the top of their lungs. That's the society we're in today. It kind of makes it fun. Everybody can have a voice on social media. So that, like, I'm all for that stuff. But the way I look at it is he's the 4th quarterback in the room, and that's all right. And I think that's probably what's best for the organization at this point. Would you feel good if he was anointed the starter? Let's say he plays well tonight. Do you think the team's going to be any better if he was anointed the starter come Monday?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I still think that Joe Flacco probably gives us the best chance to win. Now, I don't know that Joe's going to start week 1. Nobody has said that. But this, based on what I know and what I've seen, that's who I would say would give us the best chance to beat the Cincinnati Bengals week 1 and compete this year. Now, if we're talking long-term for the organization, you heard the owner, Jimmy Haslam, say, yeah, we got to look at the young guys at some point. And that will be a discussion for, I don't know if it's week 6, week 12, or where it is. But that narrative is going to come full circle as well.
Do you see them carrying 4 quarterbacks, Chris?
Gosh, today's day and age, I don't know, guys. I don't know how you can do it. I mean, we had 4 make the initial 53, and then a couple days later, Huntley got cut last year.
Right.
So maybe that's the way it goes. You know, we saw Anthony Richardson dislocate a finger last night. There's going to be some other injury that'll happen, whether it's to a starter or a backup, and that could mean that one of your veterans ends up getting dealt. There's a long time between now and when we have to go play Cincinnati, or even when we have to make cuts. But I would say to keep 4 for week 1, it feels like a stretch to me.
I agree. I know Jay said earlier he sees that they could do it, and I'm sure that if they wanted to, they could. It just seems so highly unusual and unlikely to me. And I don't know if the Colts are now looking at Joe Flacco saying, well, he knows the system. I don't know what you'd even get for him if the Browns decided to try to make a move there. But God, to keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster is can anybody remember a time when the Browns carried 4?
No, never. But they were trying to win. They don't care about winning. They don't care about winning this year. So what difference does it make?
Well, let me push back a little bit on that, I think, Jason. I think it's hard to sell to a locker room when guys are putting their bodies on livelihoods on the line that we strictly do not care about it.
I totally agree.
I do think that guys are smart enough to understand the NFL. And they probably look at our team, and some may know or may not know. I don't know. They have 2 first-round picks next year. They also have Jacksonville's, obviously. And it's supposed to be a very deep quarterback class. That doesn't mean it will be. It's just supposed to be. I mean, heck, in 2021, there were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 15 picks, and 4 of those guys are already on their 3rd team.
Yep.
It's insane. So they're smart enough to know that they can see the big picture, but I don't think they want to be told that you're going to go out and ram into somebody for 60 plays every Sunday, and it doesn't matter to us. I cannot believe that that's being sold to these guys.
Well, they're never going to come out and say that, ever. They're going to try
Right, not say it, but right, we understand that when they have to play young quarterbacks before they're ready, it is for the future of the franchise. I get it, too.
We talked about the win total for the upcoming season. I guess, what was the line that you gave, Mike? Was it 5.5, 4.5 wins?
It depends on the book. It's either 4.5, 5.5. USA Today predicted 3 and 14. Jay, you said you disagreed, but Those are the
Yeah. Are you
consensus
in line with
lines.
that, Chris? I mean, you expecting somewhere between 3 and 6 wins, nothing more?
Well, first of all, as a proud employee of the NFL,
Well said.
I don't know of what you're talking about. Over, under, between, next to that terminology. I have
get
no
it.
idea.
Yeah, I get it.
Now, if you're asking me what our record could be this year,
Yeah.
I would say, I think they'd be thrilled with 7.
Okay.
I think 5 feels right, depending on if you go to young quarterbacks to get an evaluation. And I do want to go on the record as saying I think they need to. They need to at some point. It shouldn't be week 1.
Right.
But I think they need to get an evaluation, even if it's just for backup purposes moving forward. If you realize that, hey, we think these guys can be serviceable, Colt McCoy type guys moving forward and be good backups because we might need them at some point and we can put them in the break glass in case of emergency file and we'll find our quarterback next year in the draft. Like, I get that too. So,
Chris, before we pivot and talk a little Guardians, the Browns did make 2 high picks in this most recent draft on defensive players that we anticipate seeing tonight, Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger. In your preparation for tonight's game, what can you tell us about how the coaching staff is looking at those 2 in particular who are about to make their highly anticipated NFL debuts?
Well, let's start with Mason Graham. I think a lot of people were like, what? You're taking a guy who at Michigan, all he did was hold on to somebody and then look and see what he should be doing. Well, I think that Browns fans are throughout the entire season, and it might not happen tonight, might not happen week 1 or the first month, but I think throughout the season, they're going to be really happy with what this guy's skill set is all about. It's not always about these gaudy numbers, particularly when he was playing in the system that he did at Michigan. But Kevin Stefanski was very high on him, high on his football IQ in terms of things that they can do defensively, that they can run. And Joe Thomas is going to get into this a little bit more on the broadcast tonight. So I don't want to steal Joe's thunder because he's a Hall of Famer and he's a dear friend of mine. But B, actually, let's make this A. I can't explain it nearly as well as he can. So he's going to do that tonight for you on the broadcast. As far as Carson Schlesinger, I think people opened their eyes when they were like, wait, he's the first pick of the second round, an off-ball linebacker. Why does that make sense? Well, number one, the injury to JOK. And then they didn't know that Jordan Hicks was going to call it quits. But this is, I think, going to end up being one of those picks that we have made since we came back into the league where we're going to circle it and say, nailed it. And I think we're going to feel really good. I mean, this is a kid that was a walk-on at UCLA, didn't get on the field until his last year, and then he became a tackling machine. He can do it all. Kevin said he's also exceptionally long. He's one of those guys that you can put in the middle of the field. Like Luke Kuechly used to do that. Exceptionally athletic, really bright, run sideline to sideline, and also be a pain in the butt in the passing game for offenses. So I'm not comparing him to anybody, but I'm just saying that I think he's going to be great for us.
Kuechly was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
he
have
was.
to take
Yeah, I
that
think
any day
he's
of the week.
Like if you're into the, guys that become defensive players here and, possibly put on a gold jacket once it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Be a nice hit. Thoughts on the guards? I don't know how much of your conversation you caught when you were in the queue waiting to come on. We started the conversation today with, is this doable? They've trimmed 9.5 in a month to get to within 6 of the Tigers. They've got 6 left. Of course it's doable. How likely is it, though, that they catch Detroit?
Not likely. The 6 come, I believe, in the last 2 weeks of the season.
You're correct. You're right. Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to say this. I'm one of those people that when they were in the throes of a 10-game losing streak, I was like, well, this is it. I was trying to figure out what we could get for Emmanuel Clase. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when he used to pitch for us. So
it's a great line.
I was trying to figure out because we really didn't have much else to trade. I mean, we got rid of Sewald. That was a little bit of a dump there. The Bieber deal, I didn't have a problem with. I'm happy for him. I hope he ends up nailing it and going into free agency and getting a good multi-year deal. but the Class A one was a real kick in the you-know-what.
Yep.
So there's a few things. I still don't know how we win games on a consistent basis. And I give a lot of credit to the players because you look at the lineup, and let's be honest, there are 2, maybe 3 everyday baseball players in this lineup, or guys that should be every day. It's Jose Ramirez, it's Steven Kwan, and I do think that Kyle Manzardo should be playing virtually every day.
Absolutely.
You want to give him a break against Tarek Skubal or some really tough lefty, fine. I'll listen on that one. But I do think that Manzardo should be playing. Number 2, and I forget if I heard it on your show, so forgive me. Somebody was saying that Stephen Vogt is to blame for whatever shortcomings this team has.
That was Bull, who's not here today.
Okay, well, I wish he was here because I was like yelling at the screen. I'm like, a manager has a bad season when you have major expectations. Go look at this team as presently constructed and tell me why it should make the playoffs. Can anybody do that?
No, they shouldn't even be in the mix.
Right. And so now if people want to talk about, well, I hate his pitching changes. Folks, I cover baseball for a living on top of the NFL. You won't find anybody that likes their managerial pitching changes. Our buddy, the future Hall of Famer, Terry Francona, is getting roasted in Cincinnati for the way that he has handled it. Roasted. Nobody likes managerial changes, and they all hate their offensive coordinator because they think they can call better plays. So let's put that to the side. The other thing is this thing could have gotten off the rails after a 10-game losing streak, losing Ortiz, and definitely losing Class A. Yep. Instead, it's gone the total opposite way. So I give a hell of a lot of credit to the players in that clubhouse for keeping it together. And also, why not the manager? Shouldn't he get credit for managing people and having the ability to keep this on the tracks when it should have gone sideways 3 weeks ago? That did not happen. So why are people so pissed at him?
Yeah, it's head scratcher. I don't get it either. And look, I don't love all of his moves. I'm with you on Manzardo.
The lineup and platooning drives me crazy.
That's what gets me too.
But
I don't love that.
But he's done a terrific job of holding this
I
together.
mean, my God, if you're going to grade him overall, not in any one, are there categories I'd give him? Probably a C+ or a B-. Yeah. But overall, Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. The manager's job is to manage from 30,000 feet, the macro. And I know that there's a lot of in-the-weeds moves that you can judge him for. But ultimately, what I judge your manager on is how well do you galvanize the talent that you have, and do you get them to overachieve? And I don't think there's any argument that this team has wildly overachieved when you consider what their everyday lineup, Chris, is abysmal. They've got guys in that lineup that shouldn't be in a major league roster. And here they are. We're asking, can they catch the Tigers? And a month ago, they were 15 and a half games out. So for my money, Stephen Vogt has done as good a job this year as he did last year.
I agree.
And Jason, last year.
I do want to say this, that the game has so severely changed. We know a lot of these decisions are if-then scenarios that are brought down from the front office. Okay, now nobody will ever admit that because managers don't want to say, well, I'm not the guy calling the shots because then what are you in the dugout? And the front office guys don't want to say it because they don't want to be questioned about it because they don't like to be on camera and asked about decisions twice a day, every day. So I understand that reluctance, and I will be honest with you. I haven't had a discussion with the Guardians or Stephen Vogt or Chris Antonetti or Mike Chernoff or anybody about that, where those decisions come down. Does he have total autonomy over this lineup or does he not? And yes, it drives me nuts when Kyle Manzardo goes and hits 2 home runs and then the next day he's on the bench. But I also have seen Terry Francona do that. My old buddy Kevin Millar, when we worked together at Intentional Talk, he said, if I was a manager, I'd have one rule. It's so hard to hit a home run in the major leagues that I don't give a damn who's pitching the next day. You're in the lineup the next day.
I agree.
If you did something that good the day before, you're in the lineup the next day. So I kind of adhere to that thought process, regardless of all of the stats and metrics that are available to us these days. By the way, I cannot believe you're putting up that Tanner Bibee photo, and I'm looking at these stats. That is just...
He's been a disappointment this year.
Been a disappointment. There's no question.
If he pitched up to his expectations, that lead wouldn't be 6. It would be more like 2. And we put it up earlier in the show, Chris, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, what's become of this guy? You know, Gavin Williams has clearly shot past him as the better arm. What'd you think of the of Gavin Williams' near no-no the other day? I'm sure you watched.
So I was actually flying to the East Coast while it happened, and I was watching it, and while doing work, getting ready for the Browns game, and I didn't notice that he had a no-hitter until the end of the fourth inning, and I was listening to stuff on my computer while doing, and of course I'm a typical Cleveland fan. I don't want to plug in and listen to the game because if he gets a hit, gives up a hit, then I'm the guy that screwed it up. And all of a sudden, like, my sons start texting me, and they're like, "Are you watching?" And I said, "Yep." And I wouldn't say anything. And then I'm on a text chain with my two brothers and my nephew, Andrew, who lives in Cleveland. And we're all checking in, everybody watching. And one of my brothers says, "No, he was working." We get to the ninth inning, and Soto, of course, hits the blast. And my brother, I won't tell you which one, he goes, "Well, I put it on." And I was like, for God's sakes.
It's his fault.
Out of all of us, we have gone over all of the close no-hitters that guys have lost.
Yeah.
How Dan Spillner lost one, and Bert Blyleven lost one a week before Lenny Barker threw his in 1981. And I was like, damn it. What are you like? Can't you take one for the team?
Yeah.
We'll tell you what happens.
You don't change what you're doing. You got to. It's
God's sakes.
That's
Every good
it is
sports fan
nuts.
knows
44 years between no-nos, and that's the longest drought in baseball, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it is.
It's insane. I mean, when is this going to end? Hey, we got to go, Chris. I can't wait to listen to you tonight. If only you had something to talk about.
Let's be honest. Are you really that excited to listen to us? You're excited to see Shedeur throw the ball.
No, I'm excited. I really enjoy you and Joe together. I think it's a fun listen. We talked. I don't know when I was this excited about a preseason game. I really don't. I mean, I guess Baker's first game, but like for me, there's a lot of questions. Right? The only thing I wish we could see Gabriel too, and Judkins and get the real lay of these rookies. But I'm going to enjoy it, and I hope you have a good call, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great, gang. We'll catch up soon, and this is going to be really interesting for a lot of people tonight. Cannot wait to. I'm sure everybody will handle it perfectly on social media.
Oh, yeah. No overreactions either way. Everybody will be level-headed, and this is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Hey, McNuggets, I got a quick question for you before I go.
Shoot. What's up, Chris?
You there? That Joe Thomas, DeJuan Jones video, where'd you get that from?
Sean Dunnigan of Channel 3 shot it. I'm sure if you asked, we could get that over to you.
Do you
guys.
need it, Chris?
Yeah, we
Actually,
might.
they're on Channel 5, so I don't think that's going to
Oh, God,
That's
yeah.
probably a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what we'll do? We'll have a court reporter draw it. You know how they're
sketches, court sketches.